So, welcome everyone. This is Angus Levy for Trading with Angus. And this is an extra training session. And in this training session, I will be discussing how to find the ideal setup for a recovery trade. Because we trade in 1 minute trades, it's not exactly an exact science as far as will it or won't it reverse on the minute. Now, this morning we got 6 first entry trades, which is quite rare, as I'm sure you'll all agree. And then in the afternoon we had first to third, a second to fourth, first to second, second. So that's the way it goes. Now, with our system, we trade up to 5 deep, hopefully very rarely. But it does happen. Sometimes once or twice a week, we might have to go 5 deep. Now, not everybody is willing to go 5 deep, and I understand that because that represents almost 50% of your account. But if you go 4 deep, you're still going to be down substantially. And it can take 2 to 3 days to recover that if you're just trading ordinarily. Because on average, we might take well, roughly 7% a day is our track record, but excluding the losses, you're probably talking around, on average, I'd say about 13%. So you'd need 2 to 2.5 days of trading to recover a 4th entry loss, and 3 days at least for a 5th, sometimes longer, sometimes up to 4 or even into a 5th day. So you don't want that to happen. Now, you can recover faster. And there's different ways of doing it. One is, you've probably seen me do it. You know, we normally trade 1%. So I'd go in at, for example, 147 would be my trade size. But you could start slightly more. So instead of 147, I might go in at, say, 150 or even 155. So that's an extra couple of percent of profit. I'm clawing back each winning trade. You can also go in at a deeper level, say level 2 or 3 even. And that, again, will increase your profitability and how fast you can recover that trade. For example, let's say it's a $1,000 account and you're going in at 10. A second level entry would be 23. So you're immediately doubling up on your potential return. Now, problem with this is it does have a downside. And that downside is that if you pick the wrong trade, you can end up having to go to your 5th level much faster. So again, in this instance, hold on a second, just let's get it to calculate. Oh no, hold on, there we go. So our initial trade is 10, then 23, then 51, then 114, then 246, roughly. It's a little different on the PDQ. I don't know why, but Phil has slightly different prices there, but it doesn't really make much difference. So if you're going in at a 3rd level entry, you're actually going at 5 times your initial trade. So you're actually recovering roughly 5 trades in the one, okay? But you have to be absolutely sure that it's going to win in a minimum of 2 or maximum of 3 trades in order to take that depth, okay? And this is where people can go really wrong, because they go in deep on a trade that is not ideal. Okay. So how do you find that ideal trade, or what for me would be an ideal trade? Okay, the first thing I look for when I'm looking whether or not to take a trade is where is the arrow in the as far as the Bollinger Bands are concerned. Okay, this is not an ideal trade to take a recovery on. Next, where is it as far as the MBFX is concerned? I want to see it as high as possible. It's just touching the 80 there. I'd prefer to see it up here somewhere in order to take a recovery trade. Why? Because then it's nearly maxed out, okay? And it's definitely going to come down in the next few minutes. Here, it still has 20% to go before it's maxed out. So that is what we call a 50-50 trade, okay? So that is definitely a first entry level trade. You can see how it's bouncing up and down, you know, already even here. So that might have been a winner if you got it at the right place. May not have been, who knows? Let's look for one where I think it would have been a good entry. You often see me saying, right, okay, I'm not quite sure. I don't think I'm going to take it here, okay? Just don't feel good about it. So this one, let's look where the arrow appeared. So here's the MBFX down here, okay? So it appeared at roughly 51, okay? So not a good place to enter a trade, all right? But after that, it moved up, hit the 80, okay? And it also hit a area of resistance, and in this case also the 100 Fibo. That would be a good area to enter a trade. Okay, and as you can see here, it also it breached the 100 and the Fibo. These are not exactly exact science either, but it slightly breached it and then came back down. That's quite common. The other thing I'd be looking for is that it hit the Bollinger Band. See here? So it just tipped the Bollinger Band, and in the next trade, it went slightly up again and then came back down, okay? In the next candle, I mean. Now, it's good, but it probably would warrant a second level entry rather than a third. Why? Because it's not in the holy channel. Okay, it's not in the holy channel. And it's also not, you know, it's slightly above, but not a lot above on the MBFX, the 80 level. So that I'd go for a second level if I was looking for a recovery. Okay, let's maybe if we open the screen here and maybe I'll pick Euro USD instead. Let's look for a better trade. This one I just need to load up the template again. Now, you see the way price has been going along here. These can be very tricky ones as far as getting recovery for, because what's happening is price has gone into constriction. You see here the red line? When that red line goes below the 5, that is what I consider a risky area for trading. Now we take the ISA signals, okay? We do not take the yellow, blue, magenta. I would take an orange maybe, but what's happening is price has gone into constriction, and price does not like constriction. It likes to break out of constriction. What that means is it breaks out beyond the Bollinger Bands and carries on up like this, for example, or what we call a waterfall, where it carries on down and ignores the signals. I'm just looking to see if we can find one here. No, we can't. Okay. Now, okay, here's a good one for recovery trade. All right. Now, see how it broke out of the holy channel. Now, it's possible because these ISAs, when you load them up after the fact, quite often it actually looks for the best. It's a bit of a cheat. It doesn't show you where it originally appeared. I would imagine it's possible that it could have appeared even here. All right. Now, when it breaks through a resistance line, it can tend to carry on up, and that's exactly what it did here. Carried on up, broke through the Bollinger band, and even in the following trade, it carried on up. What I would be doing is I'd be looking for it to start coming back down again. Okay, so as soon as I see it flagging and starting to return, that's where I would probably take the recovery trade. All right, because it's well outside the Bollinger band, and it's well outside the holy channel, so it's pretty well, you know, overcooked here, and that is a good area to take your entry for a recovery trade. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to keep your comments open so that if any of you have comments, just put them in, or any questions, pop them into the Telegram. I will also open up the mic very shortly for questions. So once more, what I'm looking for is really, I'm looking to get as many of the indicators as possible in my favor. So the first one obviously is the ISA. Second one, I want to see it above or below the 20. That's the green line here on the MBFX. Okay. Ideally, I want to see the value chart again high. Again, ideally above the top or below the bottom yellow. That would be ideal as well. I want to see it out of constriction. I don't want to see it in constriction. And at this point, you can see there's the 8, which means it's out of constriction on the red line. So that's perfect. I also would like to see it above and outside of the Bollinger band. And also at least in the red or out of the red on the holy channel. So those are all really good, strong indicators of, yeah, this is a good one, take a recovery trade on. Is it perfect? No, it's not. The other thing I'm looking for also is, what is the general direction of the pair? Now, over the last 4 hours, certainly over the last hour or more, it has been in an upward direction. Okay. In the last 4 hours, it's been in a downward direction, but generally it's in an upward direction. So you need to keep that in mind. But the holy channel will give you a reasonable idea of what way price is going to be going in the short term. So if we go back here, you know, you can see that it's pointing downward strongly. So, you know, I'd be happy if price was, I'm just going to narrow this, you know, if price was up here, for example, near the 1618, yeah, I'd be looking to take a recovery trade on that if I need to. I think I've covered really most of the things there that I'm looking for. The other thing about recovery trades is, don't be in any rush. Now, sometimes I might be in a bit of a rush when we're trading together, but if you are on your own, or if you're even trading with me but are not in a panic to recover within that session, you know, don't be. In general, our 12 p.m. sessions are more likely to be winners than the 8 o'clock sessions. We have fewer losses or losing sessions in the 12 o'clock, although we did go through quite a few here in the last month or so, or since April, in fact. You know, we ran through a bad period of losses in the afternoon sessions. But generally speaking, the afternoons are the better sessions for making profitable trades. So again, keep that in mind. Good. Okay, I am going to unmute for a little while. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, you're all unmuted. Now, if you don't want to answer any or ask any questions, just mute yourself again. So Dio, Jess, your mics are open. Will you, is that clear? Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Hi, Angus.
Jess?
I think that's all clear.
Good.
I don't have any questions now. I'm just kind of looking
All
at
right.
some of my notes here.
But do you feel that you have a better understanding of what of how the charts work and how you would, or what you're looking for when you want to take a recovery trade?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose my biggest problem had been if you won a trade and I had lost,
Exactly.
kind of knowing to go back in or not.
Yeah.
So that definitely clears it up.
Yeah. Now, that's actually a very good point. Sometimes you will see me or you will hear me say, you know, okay, I've won. And, you know, if I think that you've lost, usually because prices has you know, come back down, in other words, and I've only just won. And I feel that all it was doing was testing the low again. So quite often, what we'll see, let me find an area where that might have happened. You'll find that price will test, you know, 2 or 3 times. So for example, here it came down, tested this area here, and then moved up, and then it might come back down, test it again, and move up. I'm just looking where, okay, here, for example, just here, you see how the price was sort of bouncing along that particular line there for a few minutes. Now let's presume it's on a support area. If price went up, came back down, and I won and you lost by just, you know, 1 or 2 milliseconds or pipettes, you might hear me say, if you lost, I would go back in, because it likes to test an area of support or resistance 2 or 3 times. If it doesn't break through, then it will definitely reverse and go on up, or vice versa. See how it hit once, not quite twice here, 3 times. It hit the previous high, and then it failed and came back down, okay, all the way down to here, and then it went back up again. And it didn't quite make it that time, so it came back down and recovered and started going back up. But it wasn't until here that it actually broke that previous resistance level. Okay, and only just, not by a lot, before it came back down. And again here, it tried again. It broke it, but again, wasn't quite strong enough to sustain it and came back down. But if you see, if for example, we're going for a reversal on a high with a strong resistance, and it comes back down and goes back up, tests it and breaks through, that's a danger signal. Okay, breaks through. When it breaks through in a strong way, it'll generally carry on. but here it only just, broke through, not by, I wouldn't call that a strong breakthrough. It was weak enough. It was only, what, 4 or 5 pipettes before it reversed. I'm talking about one where it breaks through quite strongly with a big candle. Let me find one. Okay, here would be an example where, see how it was bang, bang. It tested it once, twice, 3 times. Came down, then blasted through to finish at least half the candle above the resistance line. It came back down once more, tested the resistance, which now acts as support, failed, and shot back up even more strongly. Okay, so that's a warning sign. That when that happens, you say, I'm not going to chase this. So quite often you'll see me saying, okay, yeah, we made a mistake here, guys. I'm not going to chase this trade because it's ignoring the signal and just carrying on. So let that one go. If you take a trade and I win on the first entry, you lose, wait for the next one. Okay, wait for the next one. If I win well, I'll just move on to the next one. If you don't hear me say, you could probably go back in if you lost that one. Then wait for the next trade I call and go in as a second entry level. And that will hopefully help you recover. Good. Any further questions, guys? All right. I think that's really as much as I can. Okay, Yui, thank you. I think that's as much as I can really cover to help. But it's just a matter of trying to get as many of the indicators as possible. Number 1 is obviously ISA. Number 2 is where it is on the MBFX, this line here. Number 3, is it in or out of constriction? Number 4, where is it in as far as the Bollinger Bands are concerned? Then obviously FIBOs, is it heading for a FIBO? Sometimes you see me saying, oh, wait. All I'm doing is I'm waiting for it to hit a FIBO or maybe a previous support or resistance before I say enter. The other thing you'll see me doing, I should have opened up the binary cent platform, but quite often you see me watching. You won't see me, but what I'm doing is when I say get it ready, I'm watching it as I see the line come down. I'm watching for it to start losing strength. In other words, it stops, it stalls. Okay, and when I see it stall or maybe just retreat slightly, that's when you hear me call enter. Okay, because it's run out of puff and is going up. Now sometimes I get it totally wrong and it carries on down. It threw me a wobbly like USD SEC loves to do, but generally that's what I'm trying to do. Now this morning's session was perfect, and I did that a few times. I said wait, now enter, and that worked out perfectly. Good. Okay, guys. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Jess, for your contribution. And I'll put this up on YouTube and share it with you all a little later, just in case the sound wasn't great and you need to listen to it again. But do watch it again, even 2 or 3 times, and feel free to ask questions within the Telegram group if you have any that come up. So thank you very much, and see you all 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.